So the author talks about a doorway or a portal. Okay. So at one end, you have the transcendental or the spiritual reality. And then you have the material reality, the external world, the environment, the societal expectations, and so on. So this is the doorway. Okay. So the mind is operating in this doorway. So if you experience more and more of bhoga, which is sensory gratification, then your mind is towards the external or the material reality. Okay. But if you practice more and more of yoga and spiritual practices, it brings you closer towards the transcendental or the spiritual reality, right? So this mind, it can go either way. Okay, it is in that doorway. It can take you here or towards the material world as well. So now, how do you correlate with the gunas? Okay, so let's say you have this doorway. There are two doors here. Okay, so here, material world, it has a black door, which is the tamasic guna, and then you have the transcendental reality, which is blocked by a white door, which is the sattvic door. Okay, and now your mind operates here. So rajas is required for us to move from tamas to sattva. Okay, if you want to pass through this doorway, right, you need rajas. Rajas has some good qualities like having motivation, taking action, having the drive to, go to that different reality, right? So one interesting example that I learned was that, so when you are just getting into yoga practices, right? I'm talking about asana practices here. So first and foremost, you need to break tamas guna. Okay, that lethargy. I don't want to get up in the morning. My muscles are so tight, right? So that is the tamasic guna that is operating. So to break tamasic guna, you need to have the practices of hatha yoga, dynamic yoga, repetitions, speed, momentum, and so on. So those are the forms of yoga that will help you break out of tamas. And these are the rajasic qualities, right? So once you have broken your tamas to some extent, then you can start practicing more of relaxing asanas, where you're not really pushing yourself too much into dynamism, but you're moving more and more towards sattva, where even the relaxing poses, if you're able to hold for a long time, you feel that mental calmness and peace, right? So this is how you can, plan out your yoga journey. So how you could use rajas to break out of tamas, and then that will lead you to sattva. Okay. One interesting point that the author brings up in this book is that, if you see, he talks about yoga chitta vritti. Why not manas, buddhi, or ahamkara, right? So the author says chitta is like the storehouse of life as such, all the memories. When you have all these memories coming in, it will prevent you from getting into the deeper states of dharana and dhyana, right? So even if you sit down to meditate, all those thoughts keep coming in. So that is why chitta is, it can come in the way of your mind control. So when you think about body, whatever you eat, your body digests. It takes the nutrients and pushes out the toxic substances. But whereas in your mind, whatever you take in, it remains in. Okay. The author says every mind is a constipated mind. All those worries, tensions, pain, agitations, all those are stored, right? So any sort of input that we take in, right, it still remains. I remember this very vividly. So I think I must have been around 14 or 15 years old when I watched this movie, a Tamil movie called Mahanadi. Okay, it is a Kamal Hassan movie. Very, very serious, raw, very impactful movie. Okay, I mean, I still can't. I think I watched that movie only once, but it made such a impact that I still remember many of the scenes. It was too strong for me. And if that at that time in the 90s, very few movies of that exposure had come out. But if you see today, almost every movie that comes out every week, they are so violent, so raw. uh, you know how much of information goes in, right? And it remains there, right? It's very hard to take it out. So in this time of OTTs and access to so much of triggering content, just imagine the amount of content that goes into our mind, right? So how much of our mind gets constipated, it's just beyond imagination. So the purpose of sadhana is for us to remove this chitta. So remove the dust of chitta, where all the memories, all the impressions that are formed over many years and many lives, right? We start to remove, and we start to cultivate more and more positive vrittis, and we start to make sure that what we are more aware of what we feed our mind.